Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. So, as promised, we are here with another class of based on XAT for you. I did tell you this last time as well. That is yesterday. That we are conducting free classes till this weekend for this week for you for XAT. After that, I would advise you to join the iQuanta course for XAT. We did verbal ability yesterday. Today, as promised, we are starting off with decision making. Now, guys, decision making actually is a really good scoring option for you. Okay. Now, when I talk about decision making, uh, most of the decisions have to be based on ethics. Okay, it's basically what you understand, and it's not rocket science. It's what you would do ethically. So these are a few things that you need to keep in mind. So we keep it very simple. What we're going to do is, I'll show you a paragraph or an argument, and I want you to have a healthy discussion about it. The more we discuss, the more we take away from this session. Okay. So I'll give you an argument right now. There will be a few questions which follow it. Let's reason. Decision making is based on reasoning. Okay. A bit of critical reasoning, a bit of ethical reasoning as well. Okay. You've got a minute, or maybe say 2 minutes, to read the argument. Good answer, Saikat. Assuage means to calm down. Let's see. The argument reads, Satyendra heads a branch of microfinance company. The company provides small size loans catering to rural households. As the head of the branch, he supervises 3 collection force officers, Palani, Syed and Goodwin. Palani was recently transferred by the company from another branch. So, Palani has been recently transferred from another branch. So, she's come under Satyendra right now. The question is, which of the following information will most likely assuage Syed's fear? What is Syed's fear? Syed feared Palani's transfer may pull down the performance, as he felt Palani was transferred due to his poor performance in the previous branch. So Syed thinks that this branch performance will fall down because Palani will be a part of it, and Palani was transferred from the previous branch because of his poor performance. That's what he felt, mind you. Okay. Which of the following information will most likely assuage Syed's fear? Which of the information will most likely calm down Syed or tell him that he does not have to fear things? A says, in the past 12 years as the head of branch, Satyendra has exceeded targets every time. Okay, agreed. In the past 12 years, he has exceeded targets every time. But we are not talking about meeting targets or exceeding targets. We are talking about the performance being pulled down, right? So he may still exceed targets, he may not exceed targets, that's not the point. But the performance may still be pulled down. So A will not be the answer. B says Palani has been a top performer in the organization. His performance has deteriorated only in the last 3 years. Okay, even if it has deteriorated in the last 3 years, it may still be able to pull down the performance of the branch this year. So this does not calm down Syed either. C says the branch's performance has been good for the past 10 years. Syed has joined the organization for 3 years. Syed has joined the organization 3 years back. This is irrelevant again. Does nothing. D says when Syed joined as a fresher in this branch. Let's take a look at D because a lot of you have answered D. When Syed joined as a fresher in this branch, others in the branch had feared that he might bring down the performance of the branch. See, it says others feared that he might bring down the performance of the branch. Guys, this will not be the answer because it does not tell us whether he brought down the performance or not. It only tells us that others feared that he might bring down the performance of the branch. Had it said that others feared so but it did not happen, then I probably would have considered this. This only tells us what people feared in the past. Whether that materialized or not does not know. While calculating the branch's performance, the branch head has the choice to exclude new joinee's performance. Who's the new joinee? Palani is the new joinee. If you can exclude his performance, then this fear of pulling down the performance is assuaded. Hence, E. I hope this is clear. Take a look at the next one. Well, that would have gone against the very fabric of the argument, because the argument it said that Syed feared that Palani was probably transferred because of his poor performance. So if we say that the performance was great in the last 3 years, Syed has nothing to fear. And if Syed has nothing to fear, then we don't need to assuage him. Prince, if Palani has been a top performer in the organization and in the last 3 years his performance has deteriorated, don't you think his performance will continue to deteriorate and bring the performance down at the branch? Daksh, I could not follow, but at some point in time they will have to consider him. Whom? Yes, I think most of you got this right. It says 3 months later, Palani submitted local travel bills to Satyendra for reimbursement. Satyendra realized that the bill amount was 30% higher than expected. So he had some amount in mind. This bill was 30% more than that. Which of the following options, if true, will enable Satyendra to take a decision that shall set a precedent which is least likely to be misused in the future? So, please understand this. He does not have to just go ahead and say that your bill was higher. He has to set a precedent which is least likely to be misused in the future. So, he has to lay down some ground rules or maybe tell people what to do, what not to do, so that they don't repeat it in the future. A is the best answer because A says Palani, being new to the area, uses auto rickshaws which are more expensive than personal motorcycles used by other collection officers. So to set a precedent, Satyendra can simply tell Palani to start using personal motorcycles instead of auto rickshaws, and that will not be misused in the future because that makes sense only. So A is a good answer. B. Unlike his colleagues, Palani's house has very poor public transport connectivity. Okay, this still does not tell us how he can set a precedent. if in fact Palani's house have very poor public transport connectivity, it does justify why the amount was 30% higher. C says, unlike his colleagues, Palani's sales territory has a powerful competitor. Irrelevant. D. Unlike his colleagues, Palani's customers can meet him only during weekends. Still does not tell us why the fare is higher. E. Unlike his colleagues, Palani has to visit customers repeatedly as they require additional persuasion. It still does not tell us why the fare is higher than expected. Because if Palani has to visit customers repeatedly, then Satyendra will consider it. Then it would not be more than expected. So this also goes out clearly. A. How can it be misused, Aditya? मैं यहाँ एज एन आर्यन नहीं समझा मैं Aditya, I would like to know how this can be misused. I don't know why you couldn't join an FB live lecture. Others have joined in. So right, moving on to the next question. Why can it be misused as an excuse by others? Oh, all right. Okay. Yes. Granted. Understood, Aditya. Try this, please. Okay, says Satyendra is allocating territories to his subordinates for the coming financial year. Okay, allocating territories to subordinates. So far, Palani's performance has been poor, and this allocation will decide his future in the organization. So Satyendra has to send Palani into some territory, right? He cannot miss out on Palani, but the performance has been poor. Now the question is, which of the following information will be the least useful to Satyendra in taking a fair allocation decision? So, what are the points to consider here? When he's allocating Palani, he would probably allocate Palani to somebody who's making a lot of profit, or to a place where there is not a lot of work, right? The question is, which of the information will be the least useful? So, in a nutshell, if I say, out of these 5 options, 4 will be useful in deciding where Palani needs to be sent, despite his poor performance. A says, Syed's territory has shown consistently good performance in the past 3 years. Okay, yes, this will be considered, because this gives a ground for Satyendra to send Palani to Syed's territory, because even the poor performance will be taken care of. Not taken care of, as in it would be made up for. B says Syed's territory faces stiff competition from well-known brand. Okay, if this is the case, then Satyendra can decide that Palani should not be sent to Syed's territory because he's not performing well and stiff competition will be a problem. C says a new territory that faces competition from two relatively unknown brands. Guys, we're talking about a new territory. A new territory will definitely not where Palani would be sent, because we have no information about how this territory will function. Will it be profitable, non-profitable, easy or tough? So C looks like a piece of information which is not useful for Satyendra in taking a fair allocation decision. Option D says Goodwin's territory has shown consistent results in the past 3 years. It's very similar to A. So yeah, Goodwin's territory performance has been flat for the past 2 years. Again, so according to this, Palani can be sent here. According to this, Palani should not be sent here. This tells us that Palani could be sent here, and this tells us that Palani should not be sent here. Answer is C. Option C talks about a new territory. So when I talk about a new territory, I don't know whether it will be profitable or not. Since I don't know whether it will be profitable or not, it does not help me decide whether Palani should be sent there or not. If I take a look at E, E says Goodwin's territory performance has been flat for the past 2 years. It talks about Goodwin's territory performance, and it has been flat for the past 2 years. So it is probably not a good idea to send Palani to Goodwin's territory. Moving on. Easy question again. Alright, easy. Lal and Sons, a family business, comprises 3 different companies in 3 different industries. Sudarshan Lal was heading this entire business from the inception. 2 years ago, he hired 3 managers, one for each company, and Chhagan Lal Jha as Chief Executive Officer to look after the entire business. These 3 managers are reporting to the CEO. However, Sudarshan Lal and his family still own the entire business, though they are not involved in day-to-day operation. 2 years after the handing over, Sudarshan was concerned that none of the companies except one is profitable. None of the companies is profitable. So they are not making profit right now. Okay. Mind you, we don't know about loss. We are still saying they are not making a profit. Which of the following information, if true, will most likely reduce Sudarshan's concern? So we have to say that we probably have to show future prospects. Option A says a leading financial institution recently advised its investors to purchase the shares of the two loss-making companies with a long-term outlook. So we are talking about these two companies with a long-term outlook. Yes, it's the obvious answer. Basically, this is telling us in the future they will make profit. Option B says the corporation's performance was stagnant for 3 years before Sudarshan handed it over to the professionals. See, it is talking about stagnant for 3 years, not a concern. The best performing division belongs to an industry which is growing in double digits. We're not concerned with the best performing by 2 years ago by fresh Indian talent. It still does not tell us how it reduces Sudarshan's concerns. E. The rate at which employees are leaving the best performing division is higher than the industry average. Still does not address Sudarshan's concern. Clearly, A. Guys, am I audible? Could you not hear me? So then the proper course timings I think will be 7 to 9 in the evening. Yes, Ayush, Godspeed. Hopefully you do that. Please pay attention there, by the way. Okay. Some of the senior employees who left Lal and Sons in recent past have complained to Sudarshan that the long cherished values of the organization, such as respect for elders, job security, etc., are being compromised. Senior employees who left, values are being compromised. This is what their complaint is. Which of the following options, if true, will indicate to Sudarshan that the employees are misleading him? So we have to say that the values are not being compromised, they are still being cherished. Option A says the replaced employees have been average performers for many years. Still does not tell us why the employees are misleading him. No. B. When senior employees were assigned to lead challenging but critical positions in the organization, they resigned. Alright, they resigned. Guys, please understand this. Just because they are resigning does not mean that they will mislead Sudarshan. They can simply resign. C says the senior employees were replaced by people below them and not from outside the organization. Still does not tell us why he's being misled. The replaced senior employees had only 4 more years of service and were not compensated for the premature termination. Premature termination still does not tell us. We're not talking about the replaced employees, mind you. We're talking about employees who left. E. The number of senior employees voluntarily leaving this organization is lower than the industry average. Again, does not tell us anything. The best answer in this case has to be B, because it does give us that senior employees were assigned lead challenging but critical positions. That's when they resigned, and because they were resigning, they had an angst against the company, ill will against the company, and that's why they were misleading Sudarshan. मोए मोए पुराना नहीं हो गया यार, मतलब क्लीशे हो गया, बहुत कुछ नया लाओ. See, D says the replaced senior employees. But we are not talking about the senior employees who were replaced. We are talking about the senior employees who left. There's a difference. This is involuntary, this is voluntary. Yes, Harsh is right. Okay, look at this. This is a typical decision making question. This is exactly how decision making works. Great. Shagalal Jha, the CEO, was certain that someone in his leadership team was leaking information to Sudarshan Lal well before Shagalal communicated. Now, given the following options, how best should Shagalal Jha respond to this situation? There are 2 things he can do. First, he can probably talk to his team and find out who's leaking information. Second, he can probably talk to Sudarshan Lal and say that this may be incorrect information, right? So we will go with ethics here, and we will look at something positive. This practice of passing information doesn't stop immediately. Again, one of them will be fired. Why will one be fired when someone else is leading the information? Clearly, A. Could Could you not hear me, or do you want me to repeat? Positive option, Harshit. Yes, in a way we have to make positive option. So we have to make it optimistic, and we have to think like a leader. When we talk about decision making, you have to think from the perspective of a leader. So you have to lead by example as well. You have to be ethical. You have to be fair. You have to be just. Guys, do you want me to? Okay. The argument said Shagan Lal Shah, the CEO, was certain that someone in his leadership team was leaking information to Sudarshan Lal well before Shagan Lal communicated. Given the following options, how best should Shagan Lal respond to the situation? Situation is that someone from his team is leaking information to Sudarshan Lal, right? Now, there are 2-3 things he has to consider. He has to be fair to the team. He has to be ethical. He cannot let this go unnoticed because he is actually, the leader, the CEO. So he has to take action. But he has to be fair as well. Okay? Let's take a look at E. E says Shagan Lal should threaten that his team that one of them will be fired. Guys, this will be wrong. One of them fired by the weekend if this practice passing information doesn't stop immediately. So this is unfair. Why? Because he's not sure which one to fire. Any random person will be fired because someone else is committing a mistake. So E cannot be the right answer. It's not fair, it's not ethical. Shagan Lal should understand that this is bound to happen and should not bother. Should not bother is something he cannot do. As a leader, he has to take things under control. See, Shagan Lal should request his team to continue passing information since it brings down the communication barrier. Should request his team to continue passing. Again, this is as good as D. He's not doing anything about it. B says Shagan Lal should complain about this to Sudarshan and threaten to resign. First of all, he's a leader. He should not be complaining. He should be finding solutions. And threaten to resign is an extreme step. Option A says Shagan Lal should request Sudarshan to kindly wait for him to communicate as informal sources may lead to misinformation. Correct. Next question. A does not solve the problem, Purva, but yeah, it does kind of solve the problem. See, the information being passed will not be taken seriously by Sudarshan Lal. And it's still the best way forward. I'm not saying it's the only way forward, there are other things also that he can do. But A seems a plausible option. It's a lengthy argument. Interesting question, right? Let's see. It says Rose is the queen of kingdom A and Emily is the queen of kingdom B. Both share a common border. They also share a border with kingdom C, a much larger kingdom ruled by King Jonathan, who has expansive ambitions. Though individually their armies were no match to his mind, together their armies were more powerful than King Jonathan's army. Jonathan's kingdom also bordered Kingdom K on the opposite side, making Kingdom C a buffer state between Kingdom A, B, and K. Kingdom K is ruled by King Somersault, who united a group of warring and belligerent tribes under his aegis. Kingdom K and Kingdom C had continuous skirmishes with each other. Jonathan realized that he has limited arms and ammunition to fight on all three fronts simultaneously. Therefore, he planned to double the arms and ammunition, which will take a few years. When this news reached Emily and Rose, they held a secret meeting to discuss the situation. Now, mind you, what is Jonathan planning to do? He wants to fight on all three fronts. That's his idea. Which of the following actions by Emily and Rose will be best suited to delay Jonathan's plan? Emily and Rose should send arms and ammunition to Somersault for the next few years. Guys, this Somersault does not require arms and ammunition. Jonathan requires them. And sending arms and ammunition to Somersault will not help at all. The two queens should meet Jonathan and attempt to sign a peace pact. See, Jonathan is willing to fight and Jonathan is belligerent in nature. You see, he had continuous skirmishes with each other. He's been fighting all the time. And he has expansive ambitions as well. So, he will not probably settle for a peace plan. Emily and Rose should also double their armies. First of all, we don't know whether they need to double their armies or not. D says Emily and Rose should attack Jonathan immediately. Yes. As I said, you have to think like a leader. And you have to think like a leader in a battlefield. As a battlefield, when you see that Jonathan is stockpiling his ammunition, before he can, arrange for those many ammunition, he should be attacked. The two queens should ignore the news, absolutely out of question. ethics काम में है ना बिल्कुल आए काम में कैसे नहीं है. See, Jonathan has expansive ambitions, so he will attack. You have to consider the nature of the person as well. Jonathan has expansive ambitions, and Kingdom K and C have continuous skirmishes, as in they've been fighting. Also, Jonathan realized that he has limited arms and ammunition to fight on all three fronts. Why is he stockpiling them? Because he plans to fight. So we know he is going to fight. Because he is going to fight, it is better that Emily and Rose attack Jonathan immediately. It's not an extreme option. You have to think from the perspective of, in this case, Emily and Rose. What should they be doing? Emily and Rose should also double their armies. Why? Why should they double their armies? Probably they already have enough armies. हाँ जी DM बढ़िया है. DM is actually good. आगे चले. Let's go ahead. Abhishek, we don't have to delay. We have to find a solution. If it takes end, then end it is. Violent answers हो सकते हैं depending on the situation. One of you just said you have to make a decision based on the situation. Put yourself in the place of Emily and Rose. You know Jonathan is increasing his weapons because he wants to attack. What will you do in this case? You know he's going to attack. There's no point going to him with a peace pact. Another question based on war. Jonathan aims to invade and annex Kingdom K once and for all. Which of the following options will best enable him to accomplish the ambition? Now, see, you are not thinking about what is right, what is wrong. You are thinking from the perspective of someone. In the previous option, you were thinking from the perspective of Emily and Rose. In this case, you will have to think from the perspective of Jonathan. तो आपको Jonathan बन के सोचना है कि क्या करना चाहिए. He should request the cooperation of Queen Rose and Queen Emily. That's not going to happen. He should sign a peace pact with Queen Rose and Queen Emily. That's not going to happen. Same idea as before. He should try and create a rift between the two queens. That's not going to help him because he wants to annex Kingdom K. उसको A और B से फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा. He should secretly invest in doubling his army by reducing all other expenditure. Yes, he should invest in doubling his armies, reducing other expenditure. Because he wants to attack Kingdom K, he should have enough arms and ammunition to be able to annex them. Last says he should attack all three kingdoms simultaneously, giving them no time to cooperate. E will most likely lead to his downfall. He will be defeated if he fights on all three fronts at once. Are we clear with this? Okay. Which of the following is the best option for King Somersault to focus on economic development? Now you have to think from the perspective of King Somersault. Okay, you have to be absolutely objective about it. सही गलत नहीं सोचना है. Somersault को क्या करना चाहिए? That's what you have to think. Yes, most of you got this right. Align with Jonathan to eliminate one or two of the tribes and still instill fear in others? No. We are talking about economic development. B says align with the two queens to eliminate a few tribes, unify the rest. No, not necessarily. C says design annual economic plans with each plan named after a different tribe. Yes, this makes sense because see the focus is economic development. Annual economic plans, each plan named after a different tribe, that will help in the overall development. So yeah, most of you got this correct. D says create a rift among the tribes and instigate a civil war. No, does not make sense. Does not make sense. This will not. If in fact, if there is a civil war, it would lead to an economic downturn, not development. E says request Jonathan to send teachers, doctors, and artists to improve economic development of Kingdom K. Makes no sense. Are we clear? Next question. Alright, I think enough time. Let's first understand the argument. Eva is the CEO of Ratan Brothers, a bicycle manufacturing company. The organization is doing well financially with a steadily increasing share price. Okay, right? Recently, Eva CEO है, ठीक है? Recently, Eva promoted Bhushan, her nephew, to the position of head of procurement after he completed 5 years in the organization. After the promotion, he was automatically inducted into the quality council headed by Eva. Alright. Dev & Sons is a supplier to Ratan Brothers. It supplies ball bearings, an important part of any bicycle. After Bhushan took over, he switched to a new supplier. So Bhushan was the one promoted. Bhushan switched to a new supplier, citing quality deficiencies in Dev & Sons. Dev & Sons were the supplier earlier. Now he's saying quality deficiencies. Dev & Sons responded by publicly declaring that quality was not compromised. Publicly declaring not compromised. Further, it alleged that its competitor bribed Bhushan to get the contract. Post this public allegation, the share price of Ratan Brothers started falling. Of course, Ratan Brothers के price to fall होंगे because there is it's saying first of all they're lying. Second of all there is corruption there. Which of the following is the best option for Eva to immediately stem the falling stock price? Now you have to think like a manager here. You have to think like a leader. A says fire Bhushan, blacklist Dev & Sons and inform the press. Fire Bhushan is too extreme. See, why can't she fire Bhushan? Because Dev & Sons have just said, by publicly announced that he's taking bribe and that the quality was not compromised. First of all, there should be a proper check as to whether quality was compromised. Second, there should be a proper investigation into whether Bhushan was accepting bribes. This is extreme. B. Issue a press statement that the committee has been formed to look into the matter. Issue a press statement that the committee has been formed to look into the matter. Okay. All right. I'll keep this in the parking lot for now. C. Issue a press statement that the company's quality standards have increased and that anyone is welcome to scrutinize the relevant documents. Guys, mind you, what she has to do is stem the falling stock prices. Okay, that's the concern. She has to stem the falling stock prices. According to that, C looks good because she's saying quality standards have increased and she's inviting people to scrutinize the relevant documents. As in, you can go ahead and check. D says cancel the remaining order and call for a fresh tender. Cancel the remaining order, too extreme. Do nothing as Bhushan as the head of procurement has the right to decide on the supplier. No, she has to take some action. C says issue a press statement that a committee has been formed to look into the matter. Okay, what this will do is, this will alleviate the tensions for the time being, but it will not stem the falling stock price. She has to stem the falling stock price. That's why I can eliminate B and C is the right answer. Could you follow this? Yes, no, ladies and gentlemen. The only concern is between B and C. B is a good option, but it will not stem the falling stock prices, and that is a concern. C will stem the falling stock prices, and that's why C. Alright, moving on. Shalakya, in the question it does not say that the quality was deficient. It was claimed that the quality was deficient. There is no proof of it. Well, most of you got this right. Under pressure from media and suppliers, Eva constituted a cross-functional committee of senior executives to investigate Dev and Sons' allegation against Bhushan, which is the right thing to do. The committee exonerated Bhushan. Exonerated is to free from blame. जैसे बोलते हैं ना बाइज्जत बरी कर देना. That's what to exonerate. The committee exonerated Bhushan. So they cleared him of all the charges. However, rumors within the organization began to spread that the decision was influenced by nepotism. Nepotism तो हम सबको पता ही है. Bollywood है इंडिया में. 11th question. Which of the following should be the best response from Eva? Do nothing as the committee has exonerated Bhushan. See, she has to take care. There are rumors, okay? So the company's reputation is at stake. Eva can't do nothing. She has to do something. Force Bhushan to resign temporarily, make an independent inquiry if found innocent, reinstate Bhushan. Again, she is the leader. She cannot just go ahead and fire someone because people think he's not innocent. She says communicate to all shareholders that these kinds of practices are very common in organizations. Well, you could say that we can't say these kinds of practices are very common. It's a malpractice anyway. D. Sack all those employees who questioned the authority of Eva. Too extreme. E. Explain in a town hall meeting open to all the employees how the decision to exonerate Bhushan was taken. Justify the decision, in other words. Cool. Moving on. This is a proper ethical dilemma, guys. This is a typical DM. All the others as well, but this is a very good decision making question. You have to be very ethical and selfless to an extent as well. It says a few months after the issue of Dev and Sons, a vigilance committee discovered some financial irregularities attributable to Bhushan in his earlier stint as senior manager in marketing. The board of directors were concerned about this and demanded a response from the CEO. CEO कौन है? CEO is Eva. So there were some financial irregularities. Eva contemplated the following responses. First, offered to resign from the post of CEO since as CEO she is ultimately responsible for everything in the organization. Yes, could be true. Second, sack Bhushan immediately and make the reason public. Yes, Bhushan was found to be fraudulent. Have a town hall meeting with all the employees and deny any financial irregularities. You can't deny, because these were found by a vigilance committee. You simply can't say नहीं ऐसा नहीं है. Fourth set, communicate to the board that as the CEO, the organization's financial health is a top priority, on which she has delivered stellar performance in the last 5 years. Guys, you are not concerned with what the CEO is doing regarding her performance. 5. Inform the board that Bhushan was promoted because of his initiatives helped the company immensely. Yes. This is the order. First of all, you will say why he was promoted. Then you would say, okay, maybe if there is some financial irregularities, you make up for it. And finally, offer to resign. Clear? Okay. Tell me what's not clear, Apurva. Question क्या है? She's not resigning, Apurva. She is offering to resigning. Why is she offering to resigning? Because CEO is ultimately responsible for everything in the organization. So the onus is on her. She also has to take responsibility for her actions, right? She cannot just say, okay, let's fire Bhushan and 4 does not make any sense. Based on this, this goes out, this goes out, this goes out. Why would you talk about 4? Why would the CEO say that she's been performing well in the past 4 years, 5 years? That's not the concern. Exactly, Apurva. वो एक movie आ रही है ना, Archies or Riverdale something. I think it's all full of star kids. Used to read a comic back in the day, Archies. Archie, Betty, Veronica, Jughead. उसके ऊपर शायद मूवी बना रहे हैं. Anyway, moving on. पढ़ लो पढ़ लो. Three persons A, B and C lived on an island hill. A lived on the top of the island hill, B occupied the middle portion of the hill and C occupied the bottom of the hill. The top of the hill received good rainfall, the main source of water in the hill, though this portion of the hill had few trees. The middle of the hill, however, was lush with trees offering timber. The bottom of the hill had a good amount of stones and sand. ठीक है, तो हमने देखा क्या? Top of the hill, good rainfall. Middle was lush with trees. Bottom, stones and sand. A, B and C assessed their wealth in terms of ownership of timber, water, stones and sand available in Island Hill only. During heavy rain, stones and sand from the top and middle portion of the hill rolled over to the bottom. When the rain stopped, both A and B claimed that some of the stones rolled down from their lands to the land occupied by C. They wanted the stones back, but C argued that rolling down of stones is a natural process. All three approached a wise man for the settlement of the ownership dispute. Which of the following is the best option available for the wise man? Award ownership of stones to A. Permit, I think this is a straightforward answer, right? B. Permit A to build a dam so that B and C are deprived of water will be unethical. This will be, A will be biased. Award ownership of stones to C as those C, they've rolled down but they belong to A and B as well. Or equal rights to all three over all the resources. That would make sense. E is very similar to A. I think very simple question. This is also a good question. 6 months later, the three realized that the solution offered by the wise man in the previous question wasn't working to the satisfaction of all. Because it did not help them find the value. Why was it not helping? Did not help them find the appropriate value of resources. Therefore, they reverted to the status quo ante. After 1 year, all three of them wanted to construct a house, each on their respective property. Three types of resources, timber, water and stone and sand, were required to build a house. While each had one resource in abundance, none of them had all the three in sufficient quantity. So the top one had water, the middle one had trees, and the bottom one had sand and stone. They still could not come to an argument on how to fairly value and use each other's resources to construct the house. They again approached the wise man for advice. The wise man studied the situation carefully and proposed the following actions. First, the governing body of the United Federation of Islands, of which the island hill is a part, should take ownership of all the 3 properties and construct houses for the 3. Guys, this would be giving up ownership. They would not want to give up ownership of the property. Second says each person should own third of each of the resources. This is the solution offered earlier as well. This is not working because this will not help them find the value of resources, and that's the entire purpose. The 3 persons should arrive at the value of resources by trading the resources among them. That's the best solution forward. Hence, Ramesh, the owner of an auto component manufacturing company in Sanand, had just returned after attending the funeral of his employee, Pankaj Kumar, who had died of cancer at the age of 35. Pankaj was a hard-working and sincere employee with impeccable performance record. Pankaj was the sole bread earner for his family with negligible savings and was survived by his wife and 2 school-going children. His wife will get around 8 lakh rupees accrued to Pankaj as social security benefit. A large number of employees wanted the organization to employ Pankaj's wife on compassionate grounds so that she could support her family. Though Ramesh was sympathetic to the demand, he realized that this could set a precedence where the organization will have to provide jobs for everyone with similar conditions in the future. In fact, only recently, Ramesh had refused a request for a job to the daughter of an employee who had died a few months before he was to retire. ठीक है जी? Ramesh formed a committee to look into this matter, and the committee came up with the following suggestions. Create a fund to take care of immediate family expenses, makes sense. Finance the school and college education of his children, okay. Sponsor the vocational education of his wife and subsequently help her find a job, right. 4. Purchase insurance for all the family members, okay. Request all employees of the organization to contribute towards the welfare of the society. Guys, do you agree with all these 3 things? You think everything should be done? Let's see. इनमें से कौन कौन सही लग रहा है आपको? Guys, she is getting 8 lakh rupees as a social security benefit. Creating a fund to take care of immediate family expenses will be burdensome for the people, right? Each and every employee will be forced to contribute. Not a good answer. Finance the school and college education of his children. Yes, so they're not giving money to them. They're financing their education so that they're able to take care of their own self later on. Sponsor the vocational education of his wife and subsequently help her find a job. Mind you, when we're sponsoring vocation education, we are making them self-sufficient. which is what we should be looking at. Make them self-sufficient. Don't pay for them, right? Fourth step, purchase insurance for all the family members. Again, that talks about dependency. Request all employees of the organization to contribute towards the welfare. Not necessary. Only 2 and 3. Most of you got this right, so I'll move on to the next question. Ramesh, along with senior managers, was in the process of designing a policy to deal with such issues in the future. Which of the following policy statements will be the least amenable to misuse in the future? Okay, let's see. The firm should provide one job to any of the direct dependents of the deceased employee. Not necessarily. First things first. The dependent of the deceased employee may or may not be eligible for the job. B says the firm should provide one job to any dependent if employee dies during the service. Same idea. You can't do that because then other employees would also, expect the same. The firm should provide one job to any dependent if the family does not have any support and employee dies during service. The firm should provide one job to any dependent. Same. This is similar reasoning. Yes, E looks best. The firm shall constitute a committee with fair representation from all stakeholders to decide on the course of action based on specifics of the case. Absolutely. Next question. Alright. Madhuri Apte, a busy professional, rents out the studio apartment located in South Mumbai. Since she stays 3 hours away from the studio apartment, she uses a network digital lock to monitor the property remotely. Each customer gets a temporary and unique access code for the digital lock that enables them to enter the studio apartment for the duration of stay. Okay? So it's temporary and unique access code. Okay. Right. The apartment's entrance door can also be opened with physical keys. Madhuri Apte has 2 such keys in her possession. Madhuri Apte has employed a cleaner who has a permanent access code to enter the apartment for cleaning every day. She is available only between 1500 hours and 1700 hours. Madhuri Apte's apartment caters largely to international customers. A customer typically stays for 3 days, paying an average rent of $125 a day. So it's like an Airbnb, you might know. Rents out a studio apartment. While Madhuri Apte's studio apartment gets good feedback on other aspects, many seem unhappy as they found the operation of the digital lock complicated. Okay, what was the reason? Operation of digital lock complicated. Which of the following options is the best for Madhuri Apte in this context? What do you say, guys? Madhuri should switch to a physical lock. Too extreme. Madhuri on request should send one of the physical keys 5 days ahead of the customer's arrival at an extra charge of $75. No. You can't give away your key, right? The locks won't be changed. Madhuri should request the cleaner to explain the working of the digital access code to customers for an extra charge. Guys, this would be not professional. You can't request the cleaner to explain it. Also, self-dependency. D says Madhuri should do nothing as digital lock shall be the norm in the future. Yes, they will be the norm in the future, but her feedback is being spoiled, so she needs to do something. Madhuri should create a video manual on how to use the digital access code and email it to the customers before their arrival so that they face no problems. Himani, there's a shota celebration going on, that's why. Okay, take a look at this now. Shikhar, that's the best way to answer in most cases, not just in DM. Be it reasoning, critical reasoning, कुछ भी करो. Eliminating option is the best. Madhuri's apartment received good feedback from the guests except with respect to the operation of the digital lock. She decided to leave a spare physical key in the house for her guests. Recently, some of the guests had forgotten to leave the key behind during checkout. Making a spare key will cost $500 and take about 10 days to arrive. She was confused if she should continue leaving the spare key and was looking for a way out. Which of the following would be the best way for her? She was confused if she should continue leaving the spare key and was looking for a way out. Best way forward? Keep digital lock as the only option, only is too extreme. Be present during checkout to ensure she cannot be present, she's working. Request the cleaner to be present. Again, you can't trust the cleaner and this is far-fetched. Send polite reminders to guests before checkout date and on the day of checkout to leave the key behind. Polite reminders. Yes, that's possible. Charge security deposit of $100 which will be forfeited if the keys are not left behind. This would deter people from coming to her place. Right. Himani, E would ensure that gifts are returned, but then again, that's too far-fetched. Like if you're going to a place to stay, you would not like to deposit $100, no? Kajal, this is so she is kind of in the service industry. That's the best she can do. You can't be stringent with your customers. You are a human resource manager in the HR department of Vikash Educational Charitable Trust. You organize and support recruitment and training, provide secretarial support for disciplinary investigations, and keep personnel records of staff. You report to Ms. Dilipa, one of the two senior HR managers, who reports to the HR director. For the post of consultant professor in the trust, two internal candidates, Mr. Rana and Mr. Charan, were interviewed. Mr. Charan was selected as he was considered to be academically gifted with impressive leadership skills, even though he had less experience than the other. 3 days later, Mr. Rana came to your office complaining that the selection was unfair as he had more experience than Mr. Charan. So we'll be saying, you are the human resource manager in Vikash Charitable Trust. You organize and support recruitment and training. You report to Ms. Dilipa. Right? For the post of consultant professor, Mr. Rana and Mr. Charan were interviewed. Mr. Charan was selected because he was academically gifted. 3 days later, Mr. Rana came and complained that the selection was unfair because he had more experience. Which of the following is the best way to handle the issue raised by Rana? Rana has raised the issue of his not being selected despite him having more experience. So 19th. क्या कर सकते हैं मनदीप, ऐसा होता रहता है यार. Best way to handle the issue raised by Mr. Rana. Tell Mr. Rana that you empathize with him. That's very important for a manager. But the process was fair. It was fair, of course. And details of the assessment could be shared with him. Open feedback. Nothing like it. Tell Mr. Rana that if he is interested, he could write to the HR director and you would act as per the directives received. That's like, jo karna hai kar lo. It's kind of, option. C. Offer tea to Mr. Rana and say that you can understand why he's upset. Let him have a bit of a moan and help him get it out of his system. Guys, this is not professional. Tell Mr. Rana that the institute finds the right person for the job, not the one who has been around the longest. Right person, not the one who's been around the longest. Justifying Mr. Charan's selection. Warn Mr. Rana that his complaint will be construed as misdemeanor and held against him in the next promotion cycle. This is too extreme, yeah. He's complaining, he's justified in complaining, but as long as this is the best way forward. Yes. Moving on. Priyasvita, it's a matter of if the assessment is fair, why not share it? It's okay to share it. Also, this would depend on HR policies of a specific organization. But in this case, if you're allowed to share it to quell the other person, it's justified to share it. In fact. Ms. Dilipa has asked you to conduct a non-teaching staff induction training. You are to call for a tender from various agencies with specifications that include the contents, duration, experience, budget, and other relevant information. You then need to shortlist 5 agencies from the list of 20 and make a presentation within 2 days. Review the following responses. Rate all 20 agencies on a scale of 1 to 5 on information available and select the top 5. Select the 5 lowest bids based on the price quoted. Seek selection criteria from Dilpa and the HR director and shortlist the bidders accordingly. Follow the advice of a person who has completed a similar task. Select the best of the following responses in the descending order of the effectiveness. Descending order. So the best has to come at the end. So I can safely eliminate 4. Advice of a person who has completed a similar task makes no sense. Last option would be seeking selection criteria from Dilipa. So this is the least. So this would come first. Rate all 20 agencies scale of 1 to 5 information. Select top 5. Okay, this is second because you're doing things on your own. The best thing would be select the 5 lowest bids based on the price quote. It's simple. Option E. अरे क्या हो गया? What happened, guys? Why is waving frantically, Purva? हाँ ठीक है, my bad. You guys are right. बेस्ट पहले होगा, सही बोल रहे हो. डिसेंडिंग ऑर्डर ऑफ इफेक्टिवनेस, तो बेस्ट पहले होगा. बेस्ट कौन सा होगा इसमें? देखो तीन चीजें हैं. एक, rate all 20 agencies on a scale of 1 to 5 information available and select the top 5. So you are considering information available. Okay, select the 5 lowest bids based on the price quoted, guys. Only price should not be the criteria. So this is the least, this is the worst of the option. Third, seek selection criteria, proper selection criteria from Dilpa and the HR director, and shortlist the bidders accordingly. So I came out with descending wrong, but the answer still is 312. My bad here. Yes, best would come first, right, Apurva? Is that clear, Kajal? I think that was the doubt. See, it says follow the advice of a person who has completed similar task. Two things here. First of all, we don't know whether we completed the task successfully or not. Second, we don't know whether that advice would be relevant now or not. Are we clear, Himani? टास्क कंप्लीट करना और सक्सेसफुली कंप्लीट करना में फर्क है ना. किसका राज, किसका अप्रोच नहीं समझ पा रहे? पूर्वा, अभी क्लियर? आगे चलते हैं, चलिए. The Vikas Trust has recently been plagued by a high turnover of teaching assistants, with many looking for higher salary and better facilities. Okay, you have been asked to design and run a campaign to attract and appoint 10 teaching assistants. Okay, one of your measures of success will be the retention of the new recruits. You have 4 weeks for the interview. Okay. The Vikas Trust has recently been plagued by a high turnover of teaching assistants, with many looking for higher salary and better facilities. Make sense? You have been asked to design and run a campaign to attract and appoint 10 teaching assistants. One of the measures of success will be the retention of the new recruits. So they should not leave. राज, आपके सवाल का जवाब हो जाएगा कि मैं वही तो कह रहा हूं जो आप सुन रहे हो. थोड़ा स्पेसिफिक तो पूछो. ठीक है, हमें क्या करना चाहिए इसमें? अभी भी देखिए डिसेंडिंग ही लिखा हुआ है, तो बेस्ट विल कम फर्स्ट. Shortlist apt candidates who reflect values of the trust from respondees to your wide advertisement campaign. Good. Design an ad that attracts candidates with value that matches the trusts. Release it at an appropriate time and revalidate the candidate's credentials at the time of shortlisting. ठीक. Repeat the process that was followed by the trust last time. Okay. Seek expert advice on drafting an attractive advertisement, guys. An attractive advertisement will not guarantee good employees. The order will be no, 2 is better because it says release it at an appropriate time. appropriate time is important. Seek expert on drafting an attractive advertisement. Actually, when I draft an expert advertisement, it does not mean that I will get the right candidates. It just means the ad is attractive. So everybody and anybody would come. What I'm looking for is values that matches the trust's values. Viraj, why are we talking about this? अभी तो बताया है, why not D? Varun, I'm not saying repeating will ensure success. Out of these four, I have to select only three. Which are the three best options to select? First, second, and third. They're better than fourth at least. Viraj, you said if the trust had been plagued by teaching assistants, then we would follow the process used last time. We don't know whether it was plagued or not, so yeah. Archie, Viraj, Varun, are we clear? Harshit, clear? Yes, no, boys and girls. चलिए next. The new induction training program has been a roaring success. All new induction courses for the next 12 months have been tightly scheduled. This morning you received a call from Mr. Surya, the head of the trust, requesting you to train 8 newly recruited teaching assistants before they start their job next month. You explained that all the slots are fully booked for the next 3 months, but he insists that the new teaching assistants be trained immediately to hopefully reduce turnover among them. You speak to Dilipa, who wants you to deal with the issue on your own. Review the following responses that you wish to communicate to Mr. Surya. ठीक है, प्रॉब्लम क्या है? Mr. Surya requesting you to train 8 newly recruited teaching assistants before they start their job next month. and you say that all the slots are fully booked for the next 3 months, so you cannot teach them. You speak to Dilipa, who wants you to deal with the issue on your own. Review the following response that you wish to communicate to Mr. Surya. So they want you to teach more teachers, but you don't have enough slots. Okay, let's see. Inform him that once the schedules are drawn up, it is not possible to effect any change as the reputation of the trust would be at stake. Okay, not the best, I would say. But yeah, important. Suggest that a new agency may be permitted to run induction sessions for these teaching assistants as a special case. See, it is a special case. So this looks good. Third says, tell him that if some inductees drop out in the first month, at least some teaching assistants can be accommodated. Okay, but that is conditional. Tell him that since no space is available in induction training sessions for 3 months, you as the HR manager would conduct induction sessions for them after office hours. That is too far-fetched. So I think best two, 1, 3, 4. Just a second. No, I don't think that's the right answer. See, this is a senior. You cannot talk to him like this. Inform him that the schedules are drawn up. It is not possible to effect any change. You're working in a corporate. So first thing is, yes, that's the best hope. Someone drops out, you teach them. If it has to be done, no matter what, you tell him that you will do this on yourself. Yeah. So this is the best order. Right. See. Enough with the ascending, descending order. Let's try something else. Yeah, okay. Let's try this question. I think this is a very easy question. Yes, most of you got this right. The public relations department of an organization has spent only 4 crores of its allocated 16 crores on publicity. There are 2 months left in the financial year. Due to shortage of officers, the assistant director operations has been given an additional charge of publicity. Because of his other commitments, he is unable to find time to undertake tasks such as baseline study, ascertaining communication needs, testing proposed messages and media channels, deciding optimum periodicity, measuring impact, etc. So he is unable to find time. Right? Other commitments, additional charge of publicity. Okay. He also argues spending the rest of the budget is unnecessary. Okay. Because their regular programs are already widely known. So he's saying publicity is not required. His boss, the director, however, feels that only by utilizing the entire budget can a similar amount be demanded the next year. He also thinks that there is nothing like enough publicity. So his boss, भाई boss ने बोल दिया है, there is nothing like enough publicity. तो advertising करना पड़ेगा. A. Repeat the advertising done so far 3 times over just exhaust the entire amount. No point. Rely on the operational experience of the director and the assistant director and start spending the optimal amount right away. No, without planning, not advisable. Surrender the budget right away so it can be utilized by other departments. You can't surrender the budget. You have to be responsible. Hire a specialized external agency which will study the gaps and needs within a fortnight and follow its recommendations. Yes, because you are unable to find time, you can outsource this job. E. Request higher authorities to reallocate the remaining amount to other departments of the organization. Alright. Simple question. Next, which of these new developments, if true, would most justify a larger utilization of the advertising agency? So we are saying ki, how can we use the larger? How can we make a bigger use of the advertising agency? Oh, sorry, budget. Out of this, what happens so that we can justify this? Order, Harshit, it's not an order question. Himani, what's the question? I think this is a straightforward answer. Advertising agencies have announced a 25% reduction in rates does not justify a larger utilization of the advertising budget. An internal committee of the organization has made strong recommendations to improve service delivery irrelevant. The organization has approved a new major scheme for immediate implementation. Question to pucho baba. So we have a new major scheme. Since we have a new major scheme, it makes sense to advertise it. The findings of a baseline study of assessing communication needs are now available. Irrelevant. A new assistant director has been posted to exclusively look after publicity. Does not justify a larger utilization of the advertising budget. See, because this has to be done. When he approached Dilipa said you have to deal with this on your own. So he has no place to go. suggest that a new agency may be permitted to run induction. Okay, that's okay. If not, if so, first thing is outsource it. If that's not allowed, he would do it, and then hope that if somebody drops out, you can induct them in. Chaliye, try this. Okay, the question दिखा देता हूँ मैं आपको. Which of the following sequence of action is most appropriate for the hospital administration in achieving their goal? You can see we need three actions. Okay. Sanchit Group of Hospitals seeks to improve the success rate and patient satisfaction rate by 100% in the next year. However, the management can't afford to send doctors for professional development outside the country, nor afford purchasing more equipment. As an in-house measure, the managing board thought of having doctors with high patient satisfaction to mentor those with less. Most of the doctors found it an interference by the management, judgmental and an expression of distrust. There were, however, some isolated few who found it a novel way of learning from each other. Alright. The doctors felt the management should instead increase consultancy fees and spend more on recruiting more paramedics who could spend time with patients rather than blame doctors, and decided to call it quits. For the management, this would mean loss of patients. So, 2-3 things that we need to focus on. Seeks to improve the success rate and patient satisfaction. Management can't afford to send doctors outside the country nor afford purchasing more equipment. In-house measure, the managing board thought of having doctors with high patient satisfaction mentor those with less. Most of the doctors found it an interference by management, judgmental and expression of distrust. There were, however, some isolated few who found the novel of learning from each other. So, peer learning. Consider the following actions. First, conduct a survey of all stakeholders and ascertain their needs and suggestions. Good. Build consensus among doctors and paramedics on a possible way forward. Yes. Prepare an action plan that details the roadmap along with financial implications. Okay. Design differential service packages based on the affordability of the patients. I can eliminate this. Run a brainstorming session among the leading doctors of the area. No. Of the area is not our concern. So, order will be, I think 1, 2, 3 itself. Survey, ठीक है. First, build consensus. Yes. Prepare an action plan. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Which of the following sequence of actions is most appropriate for the hospital administration achieving their goal? It is 1, 2, 3. guys, this was decision making. I think you were like nervous or whatever for no reason. I think this is fun. We'll have more such sessions soon. I've already told you that we are running these free sessions only till the end of this week, specially brought to you by iQuanta. If you want to go ahead and study throughout till XAT, I would suggest you go ahead and enroll with the iQuanta course as well. You can find the link on the website. DM is fun. Yes, this was fun. Indeed, yes, it was fun. Of course. मनदीप थोड़ा डिफिकल्ट है, ठीक है, हो जाएगा, इसीलिए प्रैक्टिस कर रहे हैं. अभी मोक्ष इतना मत सोचो, अभी पढ़ाई कर लो पहले. Alright, guys, I will take your leave. Thank you so much. It's been fun for me as well.